Thank you for this opportunity. It feels very good to come from the Balkans to a new Western Balkan country like Britain, and it also feels very good to have this very prestigious platform of yours and talk about ourselves and our region. I think we are going through an interesting time. We are witnessing a period of important reforms in the region, quite important numbers that show change. Of course, it's clearly not enough, and as for Albania, we are working very hard to settle with our justice reform in a way that will give the country a much stronger position when it comes to give not only our citizens but also investors maximum guarantees and maximum predictability for their own investments. And in the same time, of course, we know very well that it should be a combination between our natural resources, especially oil and minerals, and of course hydropower energy, and at the same time our coastline in terms of touristic investments. We had lately a very good news from Shell that found an important reserve of very high quality oil onshore, which gives a very strong perspective on that direction. At the same time, we have some very important investments in our coastline in the pipeline, and I hope they will materialize soon. Our tourism numbers is growing every year, so we are doing pretty well in terms of fighting unemployment. As the World Bank report of last year mentioned, we had good results, but of course at the end we are very clear. What has been done is not enough, and we need to do much more and to have faster growth. And I think the potential lies in more regional cooperation, in more regional interaction. And I'm pretty convinced that if we'll have the wisdom and the strength to go further with our regional cooperation, and if we would open up to a new chapter by simply tackling this obsessive history and obsessive politics of borders through a new approach and creating a Western Balkan Schengen area and transforming the borders from reasons to fight and to kind of inflame politics in totally fluid points of convergence. By no doubt will open up to much bigger opportunities, and we'll explore an important part of our unexplored potential.
Question of improving the standard of business regulation around the region, in particular in Albania. Is it important to have a clear goal of European Union membership to keep up the reform effort on the specific question of business regulation? Is there a kind of limited time in which the enthusiasm for that effort will last?
I would say that there is a reason that has defined the speed of integration from the communist times to the European Union. And there is a reason why countries like Poland or Czech Republic or Slovakia and others have been much faster than countries like ours. And this reason has to do with the past, has to do with the history of institutions. They had much easier time to reconnect with their own history of institutions after the abrupt event of communism. In our region, the history of institutions is far less generous, I would say, to just be euphemistic. And for us, the European integration process, it's a process of institutional building, it's a process of state building, it's a process of not reconnecting, like for them, the other countries that reconnected faster, but to connect with the future. So, if I might say, the integration process is even more important than the membership itself, because it's the only mechanism, is the only roadmap, is the only instrument, unique and not replaceable, to kind of build a functioning state with all the elements that would guarantee the rights, that would guarantee everyone, and that would make possible that the state works for the people. So once you have it, then you can do what Britain did, you know, leave. But first you need to have it. So it's like, you know, marrying. You know, it doesn't matter. Everyone can tell you that it's not really as fantastic as it looks like, but you want it, you know. So then you make your own decisions and so on. By the way, you know, what's happening in Britain is showing that divorce is much more difficult than marriage. So I would say yes, for us, the European Union perspective is a must. Now, on the other hand, Anna touched it a bit about the hypocrisy, and there is a lot of hypocrisy, and there is a lot of, you know, I would say humiliation, because it's less and less about what we do, and it's more and more about the inner dynamics in different European countries. It's less and less about how much we fit with the benchmarks and criteria, and more about elections here, elections there. By the way, today Zoran mentioned he is expecting something positive to happen. We are different, you know. He is incurable optimist. I'm tragically optimistic. So there is a difference. The thing is that why the report of the European Commission got out this time at the end of May? Because of the elections, European elections. Why the hell the report on how we did in this and that has to do with European elections? Because if the report would have come out before with a clean recommendation for us, this would make Madame Le Pen feel like, you know, energized to go after more black ships and after more dangerous ghosts in the horizon. Now, it's one of the main examples of how things are less and less predictable, more and more unfair. And by the way, it's clear that every country that comes after has to do more in the same phase that the country that has been before. So it's like, you know, an increasing, but at the end of the day, it's the only way. So if you'd ask me, do we have a different way? Do we have an alternative? Do we have an escape from this? No. we don't. So even if EU would disappear tomorrow, we would do the same thing, because we need to build the justice system, we need to build credible, not only credible legislation, but also credible way of living with the legislation, because, you know, we need to go from what is written in the books to what is the real life of people in all the ways. So, as such, the European Union is a bless. It's something that makes us different from countries that are far away, and makes different the life and the perspective of our young people. What is the difference between a young boy in Skopje or in Belgrade or in Tirana with a young boy in Mosul or in Kandahar or I don't know where? It's Europe. It's the fact that you live in a space where there is future, where there is perspective, where there is a chance to dream big. And yes, you know, it's really an effort worth doing, and we are going all the way with all the disappointments, with all the humiliations, with all the hypocrisy, with all the double standards that it takes. Look at Netherlands. They are very much enthusiastic about going after Albanians in every election they have. And I saw a week ago a big title, Albanian gangsters eliminated. And when I saw the article, the gangsters were Belgian, Moroccan, Dutch, and there were only 2 Albanians. But the whole of them were seen like Albanians, and everything was, you know, focused on Albanians. So it's about, you know, the low life of our of European politics today.
Thank you very much. I'm sure the audience will take on board what you were saying about marriages and divorces. You don't have a second career planned as a marriage counsellor.
No, but you know, Brexit is very revealing on that. You know, and you know, divorcing may have different levels. You know, I have some experience, but the divorcing from Europe seemed to be a nightmare. You know, it's a kind of wife that, you know, you can't. You know, and with the no deal, it's even worse.
Albania, Prime Minister Rama, does that consensus exist?
While Anna was speaking, I was thinking how many people in the parliaments of EU know that our countries, the Western Balkans, are surrounded by EU borders. My guess, very few. Because when they speak and listen about enlargement, they have this imagination that, oh my God, you know, it's Turkey, and after Turkey is Ukraine, and after Ukraine is Serbia, and after Serbia is Albania, and then North Macedonia, and then we are in the border with China. So these people don't really know what they talk about sometimes. We are within the EU border. We are surrounded by EU border. And by the way, during the refugee crisis, what happened was refugees were entering EU through Greece, were getting out of EU through then Macedonia, now it's North Macedonia, and they changed name because they want to be in EU. Can you imagine to ask Brits, change your name of the kingdom to remain? So then they continued to Serbia, and then they went in EU through Croatia. So it's an organ of the same body, dragging out of the body and bleeding, and now, you know, to cut it is impossible because it's part of it. Now, the decision is, or you have it with all its potential infection. There should be a reason why two world wars started from this organ and then inflamed the whole body, or you just assume it and integrate it. Secondly, yes, we need to think that regionally there is much more to do. It's possible. Now, consensus, yes, we are, in Albania, we are the most pro-European people. You know, our Euro-optimism is bigger than Zoran Zaev optimism, as population, I mean. But, you know, and we have Muslims and Christians. Our Muslims are much more European than voters of Marine Le Pen, by no doubt. So it's very much there, and so there is no anti-European party possible in Albania, as there is no communist party possible in Albania, although we have had the most brutal communist party in Europe, and because it would not get any attention and any support. So there is now, when you watch Albania today through the pictures, one may think, oh my God, it's not the place to go and invest, it's not the place to go and swim. No, it is. You know, what is happening is not the people revolting, it's just a political setup, and protests can be part of our touristic package. So people can come, and because they happen like concerts, you know, on Saturdays at 8 o'clock. So if you want to watch a protest, you can book a place in the surroundings, and it's not, you know, the whole country in flame. It's just, you know, in the main boulevard. They come, they do their things, they throw their Molotovs. But if you stay in a reasonable distance, you enjoy it, and you don't find it in Europe in this moment. So come to Albania and invest. And by the way, we have in our tradition, you know, in our first constitution, our canon, there is a very strong line that has defined our relation with the foreigners and has defined also the beauty of the country for every foreigner. The house belongs to God and to the guests, which means, you know, if you are part of the house and you are not guest, you can be in trouble, you know, but if you are a guest, you are never in trouble. So if you are, you know, a local investor, maybe you can have trouble. If you are a foreign investor, you don't have trouble. You are the guest, you are God, so come. And then there is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful additional things. So now, of course, it's not Germany, it's not Switzerland, but, you know, if you look for boredom, go there. If you look for exciting time, come to us.